Hello everyone, and welcome to this presence tapping video. I'm going to invite you to tap through the entire thing. Remember, this is presence tapping without words, so you don't have to do anything except listen and tap. So close your eyes, take a couple of deep breaths. Presence tapping is kind of a mixture of meridian tapping and guided meditation. It's very much introspective, just noticing, watching, feeling your body, and letting go of a lot of our thoughts and ideas and the like, to just be present in this moment. So as you're just breathing like that, you can just start tapping through the points. Leave your eyes closed. You're not going to need them. And I'm not going to try to take up anything specific here because it's such a broad thing being felt by so many people right now. So just let the words flow over you. Let whatever resonates resonate with you. Something doesn't, just let it pass. We're not here to take a position, only to become emotionally free. This was and is a very difficult video for me to make. In fact, I didn't really want to make it. But I've gotten so many requests via email and via chat, different ways people get in touch with me, that really wanted some help, some guidance during what is a very difficult and distressing time for a lot of people, especially here in the US, but it's not limited to that. It also came up during my self-inquiry Sangha that I do every Wednesday, which is, live on Zoom with people. And I didn't bring it up. It just started to come up, and suddenly the floodgates were wide open, and the level of distress and concern and bewilderment was palpable. I mean, you could cut it with a knife. It was so thick. Just the complete incredulity and bewildering that the majority of the people who voted in this country thought that this fellow, a serial sexual predator, a pathological narcissist and liar, a convicted felon of both fraud and rape. Well, the felony wasn't for rape. That was a civil, right? And somehow he's going to be the one that leads us to this promised land. For many who were abused as children, maybe even sexually abused, the traumatization, the thing that causes the trauma, is that there's no responsible person in their life who says, yes, this really happened, it's not your fault, and also a system and a support system in which the perpetrator is actually recognized as such and doesn't get away with it. The child, of course, blames themselves, takes it on. You better not tell anybody. I've worked with people, especially women, many women, who have had that happen. And that is the traumatic aspect of it. So for many, this whole thing is reopening some old wounds of that time when things were happening, and the perpetrator just continues to get off scot-free. This is a very difficult thing for those who were already traumatized. And for anybody, I mean, what's a trauma, right? What is a trauma? Let's be clear about what it is. It is the nervous system when it is in a state that is so dangerous, it can't fight the danger and it cannot run away from it. There's no way out. And the nervous system does this very interesting, strange, but effective posture. It adopts this posture. It's called freeze. You see it in the possum and a lot of animals when it's their last ditch attempt to survive. In humans, that gets stuck, right? Because oftentimes there is no way out. And even the freezing takes on a different form. When you're a kid, if your parents are the ones causing the abuse, the ones that are supposed to be keeping you safe and protected, you can't run and you can't hide. You're too powerless. You can't fight. There's nothing you can do. It freezes. And in the case of human beings, it creates a very odd, no, not odd. And in the case of human beings, it doesn't just, freeze like a possum and wait for the danger to pass, because the danger is not passing. You're having dinner with the danger. It's providing all of your needs. So what happens instead is that it's looking at whatever the particular behavior that you exuded was that caused the reaction, a particular reaction from mom and dad, the caregivers, whoever they were. That gets suppressed, and a fake behavior gets created to present to the environment to make sure you get your needs met. In other words, you, as you really are, your authentic self, gets buried down in the basement. It becomes dangerous to be yourself, which is about the most difficult. It is just an existential trauma, because you can't run and you can't hide, but you also cannot be anything other than what you are. So now what do? Well, you disappear is what happens. Now, given that that's what a trauma is, you can see that many, many, many people, millions, tens of millions of people in this country, and many people that are kind of watching from a distance, because it is a very powerful country, are feeling that sense of bewilderment, which means there's nowhere to run. So I want to try to leave everything that I have and leave the country, but where are you going to go? And there's no and you can't fight it. Okay? You can't fight it as long as you believe in the system of democracy and voting and all of that kind of stuff, which the fellow we elected doesn't even believe in that. So it is the genuine condition of a trauma. Right? So as you're tapping now, and you're just being quiet, not repeating, just feeling your body and breathing, right? There first may be some sense of relief if you are in that, depending on how much of a distressed state you're in. There may be a sense of relief there that the bewilderment, the inner conflict, this traumatizing event is seen and recognized. That you're not alone. That there is a shared emotional freeze that has happened for many, many people for exactly the same reason. And to have your reasons acknowledged can itself begin to be part of a healing. Now, in this instance, a healing is not going to be some miraculous shift in circumstances. but it's going to be coming back within yourself to a place of empowerment and authority, a place in which you have access to your inherent resources, your inner resources for dealing with life as it comes. There's no need to change your position. There's no need to think that you have to think differently or feel differently. The natural state of coming out of freeze back into the inner state of openness, resourcefulness, wisdom, and tolerance, love, compassion, will bring about any changes in perspective that are needed. So we can let go of is any sense that all is lost, or that I'm alone. And all of those feelings associated with how this shift in direction is going to affect you personally. Don't have to dismiss them, disregard them. But remember, if we rely simply on our conditioned minds and the nervous system while it's in a state of freeze, it will be just a loop going on. There will be no clear path forward for you, because it tends to just keep spinning on itself. But instead, we're going to sink into that place within us that is bigger, more resourceful, more powerful, and carries more authority than any circumstance in your life, no matter how dire it may seem. Even circumstances like this, which feel so overwhelming, even feeling defeated, futile, are, if taken into your heart as a spiritual opportunity, will be an invitation to find an even deeper power within you than you've ever known before. A deeper independence from circumstances. And a liberating of our sense of trust in systems that are run by men, governed by our laws and our ideas and our concepts and our egos, from which we need to trust less and trust ourselves more. The emphasis on the spiritual path is on self-knowledge, knowing yourself as you actually are. The wonder of it is that when this path is really entered into, from the point of view of a spiritual self-inquiry, or from the point of view of emotional healing, the discovery of my true authentic self is, whenever anybody has done that, has sincerely made that attempt, what they have found of their true authentic self is that it is orders of magnitude more beautiful, powerful, more confident, more capable, and more unshakable and imperturbable than they could have ever imagined. Our ideas about ourselves are where all the weaknesses, not the truth. And the path of self-discovery, whatever way you take it, leads to the realization of that. But it does require that we let go of all of the ideas and concepts we held about ourselves. And life, in all the diverse ways in which we experience it, is constantly reminding us, let go of the idea you have of yourself, the things that you have trusted, and discover that everything you've ever wanted, everything you've ever needed, has already been within you. But it has to be looked for. So just take a moment now, very quietly, and breathe. We don't have to push away, or reframe, or become delusional about the precipice that the U.S. and all of really the whole Western world is on. But we can open our hearts to look beyond. These are all man-made systems based on man-made stories. Ideas we've made up and decided that they were the absolute truth and didn't want to let go of them. But they are just stories. Empires rise and fall. This is the way of things. But there's a kingdom, an empire within you that does not rise and fall. Perhaps this is one of the ways in which this deeper grace, this universal consciousness is calling us all home. I don't mean dead, I mean here, back to our true authentic self. So I'm going to put a little music to this, and now I'm just going to be quiet and let the music play for a while and eventually fade out. And you can just be with this. And of course, if there are any questions or reactions and the like, just put them down in the comments below, or bring them to the tapping open house that I'll be doing on Saturday, where we can work on some specific things for you. There's a link to that below. It's open, free, it's everybody. But just give yourself time to get out of the head, out of your head, into the body. Just be present with your own being, your own spirit. Acknowledging the fears, the bewilderment, the stuff that's going on in the nervous system, but taking a step back more deeply into yourself, into your true, authentic self. And just watch the effect that has. Let that permeate your life. Reach out so that we can all be in our lives the change we really want to see. That we can be that place of peace and equanimity that transforms all all life, and brings us all to a place of peace on earth, goodwill towards men, women, children, and every living being.